Around the Block with Cody Diesbourg and Brigitte Pellerin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. This week, we continue our conversation on discipline. Now, what about adults? Because adults don't have...
adults? They're so disciplined.
Yeah, but okay. We've all been there. You're either on a diet or you're eating clean and you're exercising and you're drinking your water, not too much alcohol. You know, you really want to be healthy and you want to clean up your act or wherever you are in your life. And then there's the chocolate chip cookies and they call your name. And it's so easy to just give yourself an excuse. Oh, I work extra hard. I did overtime this week or something happened and I deserve a break. I deserve a treat. Next thing you know, your face is buried in the cookies and you've forgotten all your good resolutions. I mean, there's a reason why we have to do New Year's resolutions every year because we keep forgetting them. We're not really respecting them. What methods, tricks, tools would you have to suggest to adults? Not just as far as working hard in karate, but just generally sticking or keeping up with their own promises to themselves.
Goal setting, that's number one. I mean, with an adult, they already know the concept of goal setting.
Right.
I mean, kids are good at it too, just at a different level. And with the adults, it's, okay, so I've heard it. I've heard that actually recently where it's been, okay, well, these classes, I'm coming to a lot of these fitness classes and these kickboxing classes and I'm keeping disciplined with it, but I'm not really seeing any results. And then it's okay, well, what's the rest of your lifestyle like?
Right.
What else are you doing? Well, I got a sweet tooth, and it's like, all right, well, that adds up. It's that's the other part of the discipline, and so it's more about realization that there's other things that are in play, right? It's not just one thing that's going to get you there as an adult.
Right.
There's going to be many things that you have to set up. So the goal setting helps kind of put it in stone, make you realize what your goal is, what you're going to do to get there, how you're going to do it, and then what obstacles are in your way. If that's the bag of cookies, then that's an obstacle. And how are you going to overcome that obstacle?
That's the one that's usually missing from most people's resolutions or new goals is that they forget how they fail.
Yeah. Well, or they just don't try to be proactive about it and see into the future of what possibly your vices are.
Don't
and what's
keep
gonna stop
cookies
you.
at home.
Yeah.
That would be rule number one. But what about the person who says, well, I'm really trying to not drink so much and but there's always at work, there's always those socials and there's always some event and this and that, or I'm in sales and we always socialize and how am I going to not drink while everyone else is drinking? There's peer pressure to do something or other, be it drinking or eating or going to restaurants all the time because you're socializing as part of your life. How do you manage that?
Well, I would manage it on a case by case because that's a tough one to answer just on a broad scale. But I would say the biggest thing is why do you feel like you have to be like everyone else? Why? Maybe that's the issue is that you're afraid to say no, or you're not confident enough to say no, and then it's okay. Well, do people really bug you about it? Do they really, or is that you thinking that? It's trying to bring to light what that thing that's pulling you aside, right? And if it is a bad group, let's face it, there's only one way to get out of that situation is to change your group, right?
But very often in people, like in sales, for instance, or if you do a lot of conferences, and you kind of have to be where the action is, where everyone is, if you want to be able to make your pitch to the potential client that you have, right? And so it's not a bad group necessarily, but I've been to enough of these events. I've been in sales before, and I've gone to a lot of conferences. There's a lot more eating and even if it's not drinking to excess or anything, nobody gets drunk. But you're drinking more than you would otherwise, right?
Trying to make a good impression with the group.
And be the one who's kind of a fun person to be around without being a goof. I mean, this is all kinds of things to manage in those situations. But if you're trying to be healthy and keep with your training schedule, but you have a job that takes you on the road a lot, that's hard. And that's an extra challenge because it's not just a matter of not buying cookies, not keeping cookies in the house, but you're away for 4 straight days. you can't always control what's
And
going
it's
to
an
be put in
image
front of
thing
you.
too that's that could come into play. I've heard this before. I mean, I've been in the world of martial arts, which it's everyone's fairly in the same book when it comes to eating and drinking and stuff. It's not as big of an issue there, but I do know other friends that I've had that have been in business, and they have been trying to lose weight for health reasons, and it's one of those things where they're going out and they're eating a steak with every client, they made the switch, and I think it was bigger in their head than it was in the actual field.
Right.
It was something about, okay, well, instead of having the
12 ounce or whatever.
Yeah, the 12 ounce or the big boy steak, it was maybe we'll have a lighter steak, or maybe I'll have a steak salad, or it's like there was pieces there that were adjusted.
What I like to suggest usually in those cases to focus on, well, there are things you can't really control, like where your big client likes to go and eat dinner. And if you're trying to be nice to them, you'll go to the restaurant that they pick because, that's part of the deal. But there are things you can control, exactly what you're going to order and eat. And maybe sometimes you don't have to finish everything that's on your plate, right? That's also allowed. And so focus on the things that you can control and see there if what you can do to make sure that your goals are not sidetracked, or if that they're really not too badly sidetracked.
That's a good way. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've been in that world more than I have, so is there any other tips?
Well, sometimes just to tell people what the deal is, right? So, because I've been in that case, I don't eat very much, and that's always an issue. Every time I go out with people, it's, well, that's all you're going to eat? Because I will order just an appetizer, because I don't like to waste. So I don't like to have a big plate and only have 6 bites and then leave the rest. So I said, well, yes, I have a small appetite. And you smile and move on. And so
I guess if you don't really focus on it, it doesn't get fixated on.
Keep
right?
the small stuff small by not making a big deal out of it. So that's one way to do it. Sometimes you can have a little white lie about something that, I mean, it's fashionable these days to say I'm insensitive to this or that, or I'm glucose intolerant, or I'm this or that, or whatever. Right? You find a very trendy one, and that everyone secretly wishes they could have, so that they would also be trendy, and just put it on the table. So yes, I have unfortunately this fill in the blank with this fashionable thing, and I'm sorry. I wish I could have what you're having, but I can't.
But I feel like the important piece is to not get into that high and mighty stage of trying to, well, I'm doing this because I'm better than you, because that would get to a bad place, especially if you're trying to do business. Yeah, right?
It's when people ask you. If nobody asks, great, you're off. You're off, that's it. But if they ask you, well, is that all you're eating? And it happens to me a lot. Or you're not drinking more? Why? So no, well, I'm training tomorrow, which usually I am, because I'm training most days. Or, well, I have this thing where I just had a cold last week, and I'm still kind of on the, trying to recover from that, and I don't want my head to go again. You can use those little white lies. That helps a lot. Another thing that helps sometimes, if you can't really, or you don't want to get into those kinds of conversations, is go for a big run or big workout, a swim at the pool, at the hotel pool, anything to try to offset the excesses. Yep. That can work too.
I've heard that one too. There's been people that go traveling all the time, and they hit the gym at the hotel. They make
I like to go running
at the hotel, right?
Yeah, I like to go, and then assuming you're traveling in a safe environment, but I would go out into the streets, and that doubles as tourism, because I go early in the morning, and I can see everything, and I know everything, and so later on at the conference, somebody will say, "Oh, I'm looking for a bookstore, or I'm looking for this or that." Oh, I know exactly where it is because I saw it this morning when I ran. So you make new friends that way, and you prove your usefulness to other people, but it also helps you offset some of the excesses of the previous night. That's a good deal.
Win-win.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's all you can do. Again, focus on the things that you can control. You can get up a little bit earlier to go and run or swim or do whatever you like. Lift weights at the gym. And if that's something you can do, then you should do it.
Yeah. Now that early morning can come up real fast, especially when you're trying to be self-disciplined to train for something or for a reason. I know that one firsthand, just trying to up the training when going to Worlds and stuff. And that 6 a.m. fasted run comes real fast. And but you can get in a habit with that stuff.
That's what I do every day.
It's the first part of that discipline that's hard, and then once you get into the habit of it, you almost need it. I mean,
I do.
You look at kids. Kids strive for structure.
Right.
Right. Once they have it, they almost need that structure. Right. And it's same with us. You get into that mode, you get into that groove, and if you wake up late for your run, or you wake up, it kind of sets your day off a little bit, right?
Yeah. Every time that I let myself sleep in, and I try to get up. Mostly, I'm up by 6, and I'm running by 6:30. I'm out running. If I let myself sleep in, I'm miserable the whole day. I chase myself the whole day. Like I'm behind. And I don't like that, and it makes me stressed out. Better to get up, even if I'm tired, because even for a good legitimate reason, like I was traveling, I came home late, whatever, one of the kids was sick and didn't sleep, then I'll nap later. And I can nap after lunch, 20 minutes, half an hour, bam, I'm back in business, and I can finish the day, and I don't feel like I'm behind by half an hour, even though I was actually down.
These naps.
It really does work. No, they're amazing. There's a reason we make babies nap, you know. Yeah, no, it works for grown-ups too. And I find that, if you have your own schedule and your own regular times to do things, and it helps a lot with the self-discipline, because you get into a habit of doing something. And now even when I'm out late, I tend to wake up at 6 anyway. Even when I'm at the lake and I'm not jogging, because I'm on an island and there's no jogging path, I'm up anyway, and then I go for a swim instead, or I just chill and look at the sunrise over the water, which is also very nice.
So pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
You know, you talk about the first part of being self-disciplined being hard when we're talking about training and stuff, but there's also a part at the end that gets tough, especially if you're on the upswing to trying to peak to a competition or anything like that, and that's when it becomes tougher, because your body's kicking back a little bit.
You're tired.
You're tired.
For sure.
Like, have you felt this yourself?
Oh yeah. The number of times that I'm almost in tears when the stupid alarm clock goes. There are times like that. I know, even though I'm awake, I don't want to get up, because I know that I'm fine when I'm lying down, but the minute I get up, suddenly the pain will come back.
Yeah. Well, what gets you going then?
Well, because it's just going to get worse. Because if I stay in bed, but also knowing through experience that if I stay in bed and indulge that, I will be chasing my tail the whole day, and that will actually make me feel worse. So to me,
knowledge of
that's right. Some people motivate themselves by thinking about all the positive and glorious things that will happen to them if they do get up and go running, and they will feel better and lighter, and their bodies will look better, and this is all big sunshine and happiness and butterflies. I prefer to say, if I don't, it will suck even more. And so that's how I get myself up, because I don't want to, and keep myself going, is I don't want it to get worse than it already is. And so find out what kind of person you are. Are you somebody who goes really after the sunshine and the butterflies? Or are you trying to swim like heck away from that? Away from the bad things that are chasing you. And both are fine. You just have to know which one you are. And knowing which one you are, then use mental tricks. Tell yourself. Sometimes I have to shout at myself.
Get up!
Get up, you lazy person! Right? Bad words at myself and everything. But it does get me up. I get angry at myself. I go and then I run hard and I try to listen to something that will make me even more. And then I exhaust myself, and then I'm happy again.
That's what I was doing. I was listening to, just when your body was kicking back near the end of. And just close to the competition day, it was I started picking up these little inspirational videos and stuff like that, where
the rise and shine,
like the rise and shine,
that's
the
a famous
Phelps one there, and
yes,
that was one actually that got me going for a good week, because we were doing 3 times a day at least of hard training. One at 6, one at noon, and then one at night, and then an active recovery thing later at night. Yeah. And you just bagged, right? And
I'll put a link out to that at the bottom of the episode, so people can check it out.
That's one that like it puts everything into perspective, and then it really gets your juices flowing. I mean, it's hard not to get adrenalized when you listen to stuff like that.
It's powerful.
And adrenaline can really wake you up sometimes.
It can. Yeah. It's better than coffee and energy drinks. But there are times when you can't have that level of adrenaline every single day. It's not sustainable because you eventually get too tired. So you have to find, that's fine for when you're gearing up for something like a competition or a big event, a big presentation, whatever. But what about your everyday when the next competition is in, I don't know, 6 months or whatever? There's nothing pressing, there's nothing urgent, and there's that bag of cookies. You have to have something that's not so adrenaline pumping, because at some point it does wear off a little bit. But so this is where I get back to, what kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person who wants to go after the wonderful things and the sunshine that will happen if you just don't have the cookies or only have half of a cookie? Or are you the one who sees demonic images of scales exploding if you even look at a cookie, and find out who you are and find out mental tricks that can work for you, and experiment with those? Because sometimes you will have something you tell yourself, bam, it works. Other things you tell yourself don't work so well. So you find something that helps you. I find, for me, writing it down sometimes will work. You have a little journal and you can say, well, today the run felt good, and try to write down
like
some details about it.
Part of the goal setting?
You can do that either before or after. Sometimes I don't feel like going to exercise because whatever, my knee's hurting, or I'm feeling, I don't know, I didn't sleep well. And then you write after, well, I still ran 4K, or I still did this and now I feel better. Write these things so that you can go back when you're doubting later. You can go back and say, right, I was worse that morning. That's right, I remember that day when the knee was hurting and I did it anyway, and today I'm not hurting this bad. I can still do it. So these are all kind of mid-level tricks of keeping yourself going that I found useful in my life, because I have a pretty busy life with the kids and the homeschooling and the home renos and the running a business.
Self-inflicted.
And all self-inflicted,
yes.
But without strategies and tricks and tools like this, I would just not, I mean, I get asked all the time, I don't know how you do so many things. And it's in great part because of the discipline, but also because of all these mental tricks and tools, knowing yourself, knowing what works for you, knowing what kind of person you are, and having certain tools in your bag that you can use depending on the situation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what the listeners have for tools too.
That would be great. I would love to hear that.
If you guys want to send us some stuff, we're always willing to learn some more.
That would be, or if you have questions, specific questions. That's also fun. Ask the sensei. You could always do that and say, well, if you have a particular situation we haven't talked about and you'd like to have our take on this, then go ahead and ask that question.
That'd be great. It might spawn some great ideas.
Exactly. All right. Anything else you want to ask about the power of discipline? Because I have one very final thought on this one.
What's your final thought?
That once you get used to being disciplined and enjoying the benefits that come from being disciplined, you actually, for me anyway, find that you actually enjoy the act of being more disciplined.
Well, that is kind of like the reward afterwards is you feeling good about it, right?
It is a reward in itself, and it's a good one, and I wish my kids would understand that, but maybe they're still too young for it. It's taken me a long time, so maybe it will take them a long time too. They'll look back at those 50
push-ups on the bathroom floor and decide that, you know what, that
just
was
for the record,
I
don't make them do that.
No, I'm speaking now through myself, but
yeah.
Yes.
But they will look back on the lessons, and I'm hoping that one day they come back and say, you know what, I didn't like it at the time, but then it's helped me.
And I may have a different way of teaching somebody else the same idea, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
See ya.